Let's do it.
Hey folks, thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of YOMO. This is the year of magical learning. We are on reflection 216. Today, I think we are on the twofold meaning on the terms. So we're talking about the elephant whisperer. And it's actually the title of the book as well. So
Well, the reason why it's funny is, for anybody that doesn't understand, the term elephant whisperer is like, call that as like a dichotomy, no, not a dichotomy. What's a word that means a double entendre? Is that what that means? Isn't that what a double
it's me.
entendre means? Like a word with two meanings, a phrase or a word that is open to two interpretations. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
double entendre. So the Elephant Whisperer is a literal book called The Elephant Whisperer, but True and I often joke around and talk about being an elephant whisperer from the
Because
book.
of the happiness hypothesis.
Right, exactly. And also Thinking Fast and Slow. So kind of merging those two books together into helping to better understand your subconscious elephant and your rational thinking slow brain, and using that to become an elephant whisperer and talking to your elephant, and like getting your elephant to evolve and grow, but at the same time become very connected to your elephant, and listen to it and understand it.
It listens to you.
Right, exactly. So the book, The Elephant Whisperer, is actually the reason why I was drawn to this title for many reasons. When I decided to pull this off the anti-library shelf, it was the exact title that I wanted to hear. I was like, oh my God, there's a book called The Elephant Whisperer. That's really funny. So the book's actually about this guy named Lawrence Anthony who owns this game preserve in South Africa called Tula Tula. It's in the Zululand in South Africa and in the South African bush. The premise of the book is he starts this game preserve. He's a conservationist at heart, and he wants to protect the wild African wildlife. He gets a call from some other game preserve in another area of the continent in Africa. They have this herd of 9 elephants, and they're going to put them all down because a couple of them are becoming really unruly, and they are trying to like knock down a lot of the fences at the game preserve that they're currently living at. They are, I don't know, elephants can be dangerous. Elephants are not somebody to mess around with. I mean, they're massive, right? It's hard to contain them if they don't want to be contained. They kept breaking down all these electrical wires, and they're really smart too. So they know how to piss people off and get away. And, even though they're huge, they're super smart. This other owner of this ranch or game preserve or whatever calls up Lawrence Anthony, and he was like, hey, you got a week to decide if you're going to take these elephants off my hands. Otherwise, I'm going to kill them. And he was like, well, don't do that. He was like, I'll take them. He was like, I don't even know how we're going to take them because like we have to go change all the boundaries of our fencing and figure out how we're going to get them here and figure out what we're going to do. But he was like, I'll figure it out, So he takes this herd of 9 elephants and onto Tula Tula. The rest of the book is about him becoming the elephant whisperer. Like they listen to him, he tames them, not like by force or anything like that. He listens to them, he understands, he tries his best to understand. Apparently like elephants are very matriarchal. So the women are the head of the little herds and stuff like that. Actually, when the young bulls get a little too big and they get a little crazy, they get cast out of the society. And a lot of it is very, very, very female driven herds and stuff like that. So like the matriarch of the family was like super, super protective. So he had to like figure out a way to connect with her and get her trust. And then anyway, the rest of the book's about their whole adventure together. The guy actually ended up dying eventually from like I think he got cancer or something like that later on down the road. But this is just a story about how he became the elephant whisperer. It's a really good story. It was really, really, really interesting. Really enjoyed it. It was very, as it says, heartwarming, exciting, funny, and sometimes a sad memoir of Anthony's experiences with these huge sympathetic creatures. So you learn a lot about elephants. You learn a lot about the African bush. You learn a lot about the game preserve. You learn a lot about the complicated politics of Africa with all the different tribes. And it's a really good book. You definitely learn a lot about Africa. So this reflection for me is called This is Africa. I was like, mark my words. My family is going to take a magical trip one day to the Tula Tula Game Preserve in South Africa. I don't know when. I don't know how, but it'll happen someday. I'm saying this out loud. I wrote it down. I'm adamant I'm going to go there someday. Like next big trip that I want to take, my children when they're old enough to appreciate it. So I don't know when it'll be, but it'll happen. I'm sold on Africa. I don't know what it's been about this whole entire journey, but I feel like Africa has been calling my name. And I don't know what it is. When I was a kid, The Lion King was my favorite movie, like the Disney movie. I used to love going to the Indianapolis Zoo. We have season tickets, and the safari section of the zoo is my jam. If you told me I can only go one place in the zoo today, I'm going back to the safari where you get to see the elephants and the lions and the cheetahs and the rhinos. Like, I mean, they're the best creatures. I mean, all of them. It's just tons of fun going back there. And also, like, for whatever weird reason, like the climate, like, I mean, I love it when it's hot and dry out. Like, I mean, it's like that's my favorite time, to be outside is like when it's super hot and dry out. And I have to feel like I've never been to Africa, but I have to feel like that's the climate there. For whatever weird reason, like Africa, I just feel like has always had this weird kind of calling for me. And then things got really weird on this journey. I believe in omens. We've talked about this before. Follow the omens, the alchemists, and all that other good stuff. This book has been slowly pushing me to Africa. I mean, this whole journey has been slowly pushing me to Africa. It's weird. You remember back in the NICU when Amelia was born? I don't know if you remember this from the book, but the head of neonatology at Riley's Hospital for Children he's an avid safari photographer. So he loves to travel, and he went to a bunch of safaris, and he would take a bunch of photos, and he would put them in each one of the NICU rooms. Amelia's room was a lion just staring right across from her the whole time. She did end up moving to the monkey room, which she's probably a little bit of a monkey too. That was like her last few days though. When she was born, she was definitely in that strong lion staring right back at her. Her code word to get into her, to see her in the NICU was lion. Her first stuffed animal we got her was a little lion. Like it's my spirit animal. I mean, there was all those omens were there. Obviously, the whole mural that we made for her, the book cover, for I Can't Imagine, the book cover for this eventually, when I decided to go talk to the artist again, made the original one will be safari themed with a lion on it, following tracks through the jungle. So you had that going for us. And then it got real weird when all these books, right? So you got The Alchemist, which, he's going through on his way across North Africa through Egypt to find his personal legend, learning about the rise of humanity and out of Africa and sapiens, discovering that humans used to do these things called endurance runs, where our remarkable ability to be able to run and sweat and endure would literally chase animals to death by trading on and off with other humans as we endurance hunted in the book Born to Run. Hearing about the lack of clean water and thirst in Africa, understanding the volatile nature of how Ebola started with the hot zone, that was all about Africa, right? Being inspired by the Lion Trackers, The Guide to Life, that was all about him and the African bush. And now we have The Elephant Whisperer. Since then, I've read Nelson Mandela's A Long Walk to Freedom and a couple other books. I mean, I don't know. There's something about Africa and South Africa in particular. Like Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. He's South African. It's all about his life growing up in South Africa. I don't know what it is, man, but I've read I feel like 15 to 20 books that have Africa themes into it, and it's weird. I don't know. So The Elephant Whisperer officially set me over the top, and I'm gonna find my way to get there someday. The author kept saying all the time, this is Africa, in a way to describe just how unique and different it is from the rest of the world. And it's just stuck in my head, because he's right. It's just, there's something about it where it's it's just different. It's just unique. It's Africa. Our ancestral home, it's where we came from. It's dangerous. It's complex. It's beautiful. It's, I don't know. There's something about it. I can't wait to see it for myself, and I will someday. So this was a reflection about officially committing to move to Africa, or not moving to Africa, to go and visit, spending time in Africa. I just finished the book Spare by Prince Harry, and, he spent a ton of time in Africa. That was kind of where he reconnected with himself and was able to get away from the world. He lovingly talks about it's where him and Meghan Markle had their first date, was in, I think, Zimbabwe or something like that. But anyway, the question is there somewhere in particular that omens have been directing you recently? And if so, what's stopping you from listening and going? I'll pause there. We can take this a million different ways. You can talk about The Elephant Whisperer if you want to talk about it, like that concept. You can talk about if there's any omens drawing you somewhere that you want to go to. You can talk about Africa. You can talk about whatever you want to. I don't really care. But yeah, I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, many thoughts came to mind. This is a topic where there's a lot of different things mixing inside of this. It could go in any directions. I want to call out the fact that, a beaver must dam, right? So a beaver must dam, a lion must roam this desert in Africa. And one of the saying that we like to say, when you want something, the universe conspires to help you achieve it, right? And so I think the thing is you have to look at the aspect of who you are. Because, for example, as I say, I bought a white car, right? And suddenly I see a bunch of white cars on the road. I didn't notice the white car before because I didn't pay attention. Right. And so it's the same thing is, I think, that's what I'm saying is when you so piggyback on what we talked about yesterday, if you come with an open mind, you don't have an expert bias or a confirmation bias, right? Then you have the ability to say, well, I like that, right? And so the thing is, you have to look at the aspect of who you are. Because of who you are, you have a certain affinity for a lion, for dry weather, and for the environment. Like the environment draws you in. As a beaver, I don't want to go and become a lion. As a beaver, I want to look for an environment that is particularly advantageous for a beaver. And so for you, it's the same way because you have this liking to the environment, the animals, and the thing that came from that place, right? You're talking about, your spirit animal is a lion. You're talking about the lion track. You're talking about like, because when that's something that you're interested in, you have more, I guess, attention. You pay more attention to it.
Yeah.
And so what I say, like, I mean, the head of the Riley Hospital, right? He probably taken a bunch of pictures, probably taken pictures of beavers as well. And you didn't notice a beaver. You only notice what you want to notice.
Right.
Just like when we're talking about the alchemist, when young man is holding the spoonful of oil and walking around the palace, he didn't see
Right.
anything because he's focusing on the spoonful of oil, not to be careful not to drop it. So I think that's, to me, the point. The point is you be who you are, and
Right.
don't be constrained by, oh, I know this, or I know that, or I have to do this, I have to do that. The lesson from the alchemist is a great one, even though it's a simple one, but it's a great one because the young man was holding a spoon, and the king asked him to hold a spoonful of oil and walk around the palace, but make sure not to spill the oil. And so he's focused on the task. He's not letting anything else soak in, right?
Right.
And so when we have a expert or confirmation bias, we tend to ignore everything else. And we don't see
We're
the red
so laser
car,
locked
right?
in. Yeah.
Right. Because when we have a white car, we don't see the red car.
Right.
And then when we have a white car, say, well, I like the white car now because it's mine. So everything I see on the road, say, oh, I know this is more white cars. It's like white color cars are popular now. To me, that's not the case. You just notice that just because your interest has opened up the possibility. You're blinded to everything else. So that, to me, is a cue. A cue to you say, hey, this is who I am. And if this is something I want to go, you say, hey, for whatever reason, you feel like you want to go there, right? It's basically your nature is calling you.
It's bizarre. I got to get this out of my head because you just reminded me of something that I learned today. So I'm reading this like awesome book. It's called An Immense World by this author, Ed Young. He was the guy that did I Contain Multitudes, and this is like his new book. I love I Contain Multitudes. It's such a good book. And this book's about how our unique senses of different animals navigate the world and see the world and view the world. And I just learned this today when it was first off, actually, did you know that lions actually would be considered legally blind, as humans? They don't have they don't need as good eyesight as we have because they don't need to. But
right.
like,
I don't think they see as many colors as we do either.
no, so this whole section of the book was about sight and how different creatures sense the world. Which, by the way, you would love this book. It's really interesting because it goes through all different kinds of species and how they sense the world and unique ways that they perceive the world just based off of how they've evolved, like a beaver will stand, basically. But in particular, you just said something that was really interesting about the omens, right? So bees have like really, really interesting eyes. They have like really complex eyes, actually, and they see a lot of different colors and stuff like that. And you go, well, that makes sense, like, because like obviously that's why they're probably so attracted to flowers and pollination, yada, yada, yada. Well, it's not totally true. Flowers adapted to become more colorful because bees had that ability to go do that stuff, right? So flowers were the ones that changed to adapt to the bees and make themselves more attractive to the bees, right? So the guy was basically getting to is beauty truly is in the eye of the beholder, and like nature adapts to be more uniquely beautiful for certain species, and like it all kind of comes together. And what I was trying to get at with this is like, you're right, there's something about this that is like appealing to me, like, and I don't know what it is, and I keep like, it's like a bee to a flower or a colorful flower or something like that. It's like, like there's something that feels beautiful about it. There's something that feels really neat and awesome.
I mean, it feels fitting, just like
Right.
when saying it, every single thing that you have is an expression of your genes, and your genes is say, hey, this is what I was, put together to do. I mean, thinking back about on running with Sherman, right? Sherman's like a donkey. A donkey, his gene expression is to be out in the field and gallop and do the things that he was made for. So the same thing for us, for any individual, we have a certain, I guess, unique set of genes that is going to give us a certain unique affinity for a certain thing. Compatible means like that fit. Is it fit correctly? A corn slot in a machine is meant to take a quarter, right? Not a dime, because that would fit. A nickel would fit, a penny would fit, but it's not designed for the other coins, only for the quarter. So same thing with us is we have a certain, all this concept is repeated over. You're talking about like antibodies, for example, or any blockers. I mean, it's essentially say, hey, I have a hand and I have a glove. If it fits,
Right.
then that's going to pair up. And so everything is in that particular concept
Right.
when something is made to fit. Because you look at the left hand and right hand, right? The two hands are not identical.
Huh.
They are opposite. They are not identical. You cannot overlap them. You can impose them, but you cannot overlap them. They're not
Huh.
identical. So even though it looks the same, but they're not the same. For example, if you have a left hand glove, you cannot use a right hand to wear a left hand glove.
Right.
And vice versa. That's what I'm saying is each one of us is designed with have a specific, I guess, the patterns of genes, and that
Yeah.
gene has to be expressed. And I think, but my point is that this is something I keep saying over again, and a lot of times people may get bored with it, but it's very fundamental and very important because you have to follow the gene you're given in order to get the fulfillment that you want.
So this is the word that the book Immense World is based off of. It's called Umwelt. The world as it's experienced by a particular organism, the worlds they perceive, they're Umwelten, are all different, right? Like what you're saying is like a beaver sees the world differently. It feels the world differently. It tastes the world differently. It smells the world differently. And all that uniqueness of their Umwelt, of a human or a beaver or a bee or a flower or whatever it is, like it literally is different for everybody. And even within subcategories, I mean, like, I'm sure there's different beavers that are unique in their own right, a little bit, and they have their own little, unique Umwelten. It's called Velt, so you learned a new word today. No, it's a really good book, actually. It's really funny we're talking about this because like these are some of my favorite books on this journey because it's a total change of pace. It reminds you of the broader immense world, the connection to how unique and cool everything is, and everything all magically comes together, and whatever draws you in and draws your particular attention. Elephants are incredible creatures. I mean, they're freaking incredible. Like, I mean, learning about their lives and how they interacted with this guy. There was this one section of this book where the matriarch has a baby, and I think they carry their babies for like 2 or 3 years or something like that or whatever.
Yeah,
And
about 18 months, I think.
I think it's even longer than that. Like the baby elephant has to walk within 2 or 3 days after they're born. Otherwise, they're going to die. That's a part of their evolution. And for whatever weird reason, this baby, when it was born, had a broken leg or something like that, and it couldn't walk. But it was still alive. It wanted to walk, but it just couldn't get up. So like the entire tribe, or the herd of elephants, all like in the middle of the sun and the blazing heat, sat around this little baby every day, trying to protect it, give it shade, help it, nurse it, anything it could do to try to get it up and walk for multiple days, to the point in time where they were all themselves suffering immensely, trying to do anything and everything they could for this little tiny elephant. And the owner of this ranch was watching it all from afar with his team and trying to let them do their thing, because this is like a game preserve. They don't mess with the animals. They let them do their own natural thing. And he was just watching this little tiny elephant die, and there was nothing he could do. And finally, the elephants, after an epic battle trying to get this little baby up and walking, gave up. They were like, oh shit, we don't know what to do. And the baby was basically on death's door, and so they left it. And I'm sure it was probably incredibly hard for them to do that, because it seems like they're very, very loving creatures and very family oriented. And I felt like awful for these elephants. The baby was still alive, even though she wasn't going to survive. Like if she was in the wild, there's no way that she would have had a chance to survive. So after the elephants left, Lawrence and his team, they were like, well, this is our chance if we're going to have any chance to try to save this elephant now that the herd's gone, because they would have killed him if they got anywhere near that baby. They swooped in, picked up the baby elephant, rushed him back to the main lodge area, and took him to the vet. They were able to nurse it, bottle feed it with milk and whatever, and they splinted up her little foot. And eventually she, a couple weeks later, was able to stand up and was starting to come back to health. And she was connecting to the humans, and they were doing everything they could to keep her going. And it was like a couple weeks later, and she seemed like maybe she had a chance, and she was really happy and having a good time, and she was doing good stuff. And then all of a sudden she just like lost it, like she couldn't walk again, and she ended up passing away. But like they took the baby back to the family, and it was like the most heartbreaking like thing ever, because it just reminded me of Amelia, just trying to fight, and doing everything she could, and just like thinking about how the elephants experienced that, kind of loss. And although, I don't know, it was a really hard section of the book, man. I almost started crying when I was listening to that. But it's the change of pace, man, of going from thinking fast and slows of the world and the happiness hypothesis and critical thinking to rational brain thinking, to experience the world and see where it takes you. There's multiple sides of this world. It's awesome. And I love these kind of books. I don't know. They're really.
I mean, there's multitudes in the universe.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to recognize it. whether you recognize it or not, omens are out there. Whether you follow the omens or you don't, it's up to you, because it's leading you to a certain path. These are lioness track, right? But that's what I'm saying is you have to let yourself be expressed. That's the only way to be free.
Right.
Because if you don't, right, and you have been conditioned to be something you're not, or be in a place that you want to be, then it doesn't matter how good you have it or how good people think you have it. It's torture. Going back to what I referred to from running with Sherman, right? It's the same thing. I mean, I'm talking about a person, an owner of the donkey. I mean, is very caring, is trying to protect Sherman from the weather, give him a place nice to sleep in, to protect him from all the dangers and whatever. But he's dying because he didn't get to do what he's born to do.
Right.
And therefore, regardless of how good you have it, it's not good for you as that individual. So
Right.
it is very important to have the understanding of let you be you, right? And let the environment, let the nature cause you. And whatever feels good to you, which feels fitting, just like a glove on your hand, it's gonna feel right. When it feels right, that's the thing you should follow. That's the omen you should be looking for, and you should be watching out for those omen and follow those omen. Don't look at the fall into the expert trap where you think that, hey, somebody is saying you should be doing this or should be doing that because you can be success like me. And that's the thing, is people get tricked, not by not really on purpose, but tricked in a sense of following something that it wasn't meant for them. It was
Right.
meant for someone else. Because but the thing is, the other person who's telling you his or her stories and tell you his or her success has no intention of misguiding you. It's just say, hey, I wanted to help and I thought this would help, but in reality it wasn't, because it was just a distractions and a false direction in a way. Because when you follow someone else's footstep, I mean, if I'm looking at the lioness footprint, right, and I'm a beaver, right, am I following my footstep? In that case, it isn't, right? But if you're a lion or you're an elephant and you see a footprint of all these elephant herds, then you know that the glove is fitting. You feel it. That's why we're saying, hey,
Right.
I don't know where I'll be at, but I know I'm on the right direction because it
Right.
feels like you're fitting the glove. That's what I'm saying is, you say, well, this is Africa. For some reason, you like this Africa environment and the imagery that presents to you, and you say, hey, I'm one of these days I'm going to take my family to visit, right? You know
Like
why? Because
I could go anywhere, and I don't. I mean, it's not like I'm going. Oh, I really want to go to India.
right? You say,
Yeah,
well,
right.
no,
Yeah,
I just like it, right? But
right.
that's the thing, is you say, hey, I just like it. That's your elephant telling you, hey, we are in the right environment. It's just say,
Right.
hey, I'm beavering on purpose. You're lining on purpose, or whatever the animal is. Yeah.
Part raccoon. Like I like being very raccoony. I could definitely go hang out in the woods and splash around in a creek
Maybe
and.
you're a mixture of the two.
I mean, I
You're a half and half.
to just be one. Like the humans can be interesting.
Multitude. You can be
Yeah, we could.
multitude.
Yeah,
You can be a piece of this, piece of that. I mean, that's the beauty of human, right? Human, we can be in any part, right? And it's not just like, hey, I'm saying I'm a beaver. To me, that what I'm saying is just a representation of what I mean to
it's
simplify the
simple.
concept.
Right.
When you look at the human as you and yourself, right? You have all of the capacity to be anyone. Like I say, sometimes I'm a nice guy, sometimes I'm a mean guy. I mean, and sometimes I look at myself and say, hey, I don't want to be that guy. I don't even know that guy. I don't know why I'm behaving like that. Right. But that's the thing, is we have the capacity to be any of those things. And we do have some of these genes or characteristic that is not us. Like for me, for the most part, I'm this introvert person that's honest and straightforward. I don't like to lie, but doesn't mean I can't lie, right? I mean, I
Right.
can lie, but I just don't like to, because the bulk of my genes is this person. Hey, whatever comes, I'll take it. I don't need to be, suave or anything like that to kind of like deflect anything. I say, hey, take it out. If something comes, I'll take it. But I'll take it by the horns. That's my kind of personality. You can't even touch me. I'm so
Right.
agile and so fast and so flexible and so quick. You can't touch me, right? It makes me feel fitting when I take things by the horn because that's who I am. I am who I am. I'm very anchor, right? So for me, it's most of the thing I do. It doesn't change that much in a single week, in a single month. If you ask me, I mean, and you do ask me so many times, and how was your weekend? What was my answer?
Yeah, that was good. No, same old,
So
yeah.
because that's my personality. I'm this person who's very anchored. That means that I'm basically rooted. That means I'm the anchor of my family, of anything. So I'm very constant.
Right.
More constant. I'm not saying I'm completely constant, but I'm more constant than flexible.
Yeah.
So for me, if I say something, the only way that I will do thing that's opposite is I cannot do it for whatever reason. Like I would try my best to do it, meaning that I would exhaust all possibility for me to say, hey, I'm sorry, Chris, I can't do it. If I tell you I could do it, right? Like 80% of the time in any situation I will deliver. That means because that's my personality, I would exhaust all possibility for me to say no, or for me to say, hey, I can't do it. I have to go back on my word because I don't know why. That's the kind of person I am. I don't know if I wanted to choose that trait, but it is what it is.
I was playing tennis tonight before our call, which is weird for the wintertime. Our winter league is coming to an end, so technically our league matches are over, so I'm not playing on Wednesday nights right now. A buddy of mine just texted me and was like, hey, do you want to go play tonight? I was like, yeah, sure. I'm not going to play on Wednesday, so I might as well try to get some tennis in tonight. We were playing a match and we were just having fun. It was just a fun match for practice and stuff like that. And he's a good player, but like I've been playing really well lately, and I've been evolving a lot with a lot of stuff that I've been working on my own tennis game and stuff. It was paying off. Like I kind of was just blowing him away, today. And and like it's just a fun match and it was just playing around. But there was this one shot that every time I would hit it, my backhand to his backhand, and he has this great backhand down the line. Like, I mean, he just like, it seems pretty effortless. He's incredibly consistent with it. It's powerful. It's clean. He hits a lot of winners off of it. And I was like, I was beating him pretty bad, and he'd hit like, multiple different winners down the line with his backhand. And I was like, Jay, like, why don't you fucking hit that shot all the time? And he was like, well, I know I can hit that shot. Like, I want to work on like, the other stuff that I know that I can't hit, like very great, and he was like, I want to make sure that those are all really good. And it's just like one of those things where it's like, if you do something really well and you have the opportunity to do it, fucking do it as much as you can, because you like that shot. This is what you like. Like, this is what you're good at. Like, this is an advantage for you effortlessly. Like, I wish I could hit a backhand down the line like he was doing, and I can't. Like, I wish I could. I can't. Like, I do not have that shot, but he also doesn't have other shots.
It's just like a good forehand. That's why you say, hey, when I hit a good forehand,
it feels good. It feels good
versus a backhand. Like, that's what I'm saying is, if you let your gene express, right, it feels fitting.
It does. It just feels good. He's like, well, I already, like, it was just funny when I asked him that after the match. He was like, and it was just, his answer was so funny because he was like, why? I already know I'm good at that. Like, I'm like, well, then do that. Like, like what are you doing, man? Like, just let loose. Like, every time you get an opportunity to hit that, hit it. Like, don't fuck around and try to hit other shots. Like, hit that shot, and yeah, I don't know. It's just funny. Like,
that's the mindset, because if you ask me before I went on this journey, I would do we were told to eat the fucking frog.
Right.
Do the hard things first.
Right. Do the things you hate the most first,
That's what we're told. We're told to do that. But the thing is, if you do the thing that is not what you want to do, then when are you going to do things is what you want to do?
Well, this is the secret to being a good elephant whisperer. You have to listen to what you like and what you don't like, and talk to your elephant. Understand, hey, elephant, I don't know why you hit a really good backhand down the line, but like, good work. Let's do more of that. How, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's if you're a beaver and you're damming and you're having a lot of fun damming and you're like, I don't really know why I do this, but like, kudos, elephant. Like, how can I help you to do more damming?
Because a lot of times you don't have to know why. Because like I said, if you have this positive emotion when you think of the Africa Sahara, right, and the lions and the elephants and all that, right? I mean, you feel it. Like, hey, it feels good. It feels like I'm safe, I'm comfortable, or whatever the feeling is. I can't really describe it. But if that's the case, and you say, well, if they ask you why did you feel like that, no one knows why.
Right.
But that doesn't stop you from getting that feeling. Just going to visit Africa, right? In Sahara, and see the lion, see the elephant, see the zebra, see all the African animals there. I mean, as long as the feeling is there and the feeling continues, you just
Right.
do it. You don't have to understand. You don't have to have why, right? The
Exactly.
why is the reasoning we're trying to understand, and sometimes we can't. The other elephant whisperer, right? And we're talking about the happiness hypothesis, where you have a automatic system crossing over to thinking fast and slow, which is system one, right? So system one is elephant, in a happiness hypothesis
It's the
book,
opposite. Yeah, but
right?
yeah.
No, it's the same. The elephant
No,
is system one.
it was reversed in happiness hypothesis. It was system two is the elephant. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. We know what we're talking about, but it was ironically reversed. Oh no, it was reversed in nudge. That was what it was reversed in.
Yeah, it's not. It's right, because elephant is your subconscious. It's a
Yeah,
system one,
yeah.
right?
Right.
So system one, you basically count up one to two, right? You have the primitive brain, which is system one, right? This is the subconscious. And then you have system two, which is the additional brain data. So in a way, human have two brains, at least two brains. So
Sure.
system one, which is elephant, system two, right? System two has the ability to be cognitive in terms of languages and whatnot. System one does not understand languages. It does not. So
No.
you take the elephant, and
Well,
then you take the
no, it does. It understands. It understands.
no, system one does not understand languages.
You don't have to compute what everybody says all day long. You just understand.
It can compute, but can't understand.
That's a good
If you
point.
say
Yeah.
red, right? If you say red, it doesn't mean anything to someone.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
the analogy of the elephant and the rider has the ability to think and reason.
Right.
The elephant only reacts. It
Right.
doesn't. I mean, in the book, Happiness Hypothesis, it's not complete, like accurate description, because elephant does have their own brain, but in the sense of a rider and elephant, the rider is an animal that does
Right.
not think; it just acts, right? It
Right.
just acts because it's what it knows. It acts. The elephant rider is the human, represents the system two, the cognitive portion of our brain that's able to think and analyze the situation and make decisions, right? And so that is system one, the elephant rider. So the elephant rider has the ability to reason. And to reason, you have many different, I guess, the different outcome based on the data input.
Right.
System two, it reacts, and it reacts quickly. It's so super fast, like a supercomputer. It's 1,000 times faster than system two. One, it has only like a certain set of primitive functions, but it's super fast. It's 1,000 times faster than system two, right? So
Right.
that means that, for example, you can probably like catch a falling a cup, right, without even realize that the cup is falling. Because if your system one senses that a cup is falling, let's say a glass cup is falling from the upper shelf of your cabinet, you will catch it. That means that this system one is able to detect that something is falling by maybe wind to breeze on your skin, takes in the signal, process it, and send out the enough electrical pulse signal to coordinate all of your muscle to react and to catch it. That's how fast it is. It is super fast. And because it does all that computations before you even realize that the cup was falling.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's pretty incredible. I mean, honestly, in the book, They Get Fast and Slow, he says at the very beginning of it, System One is actually the real star, which is funny because I'm looking at the book right next to me, The Daily Stoic or whatever. This is my biggest problem with Stoicism. It shits on your emotions. It talks about System Two is the real star, and I don't agree with that.
No. Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make after all this rounded evidence is essentially System One and System Two, right? It has connections, but its communication connections are not what we think it is. Because you can't really say, let's say right now my system two is thinking, right? And your system two is thinking. And I'd say, Chris, don't think of an elephant.
Right.
What does system one does? It pictures an elephant.
Yeah. I mean,
right.
Well,
so that means that it doesn't understand what you're telling it to in a way that we think. So
No,
that's why I'm saying, that's why
it's habits. It's all habits. It's all automatic. It's
so
all
so the
completely
communication channel between a whisperer and
right.
the elephant, right? It has to have the direct understanding. And so for the whisperer to able to talk to the elephant in a way the elephant can understand, i.e. system
It's
2 can
through
talk to
actions.
system 1 so that
Right.
system 1 can understand, isn't by what we think, hey, just tell it, right? Just think of
Right.
it. When you think of it, system 2 is doing. It's not system 1. System 1 just reacts to the data.
Yeah.
So that
No,
means
it's
that its channels of communications are completely different. And we talked about this before, is the ability for the system 1 to understand system 2 is through actions, nothing
right.
else.
That's it. That's the only
Nothing
thing that
else.
can.
I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, you can't say, hey, don't think of a lemon.
Right.
You think of a lemon, right? The way the system 1 is able to sense the external stimuli, it's what it's receiving, what it can take in and compute. So whatever you say, it can't do the negative, right? I mean, they say, don't
Right.
think of an elephant. So what a system is say, hey, go and picture an elephant and then take it out, versus
Right.
having it without it first. So it doesn't have the ability to do the whole thing, like what we call like pre-processing. We don't pre-process it, right? It processes one by one. Elephant, then remove it.
Right.
Don't think of an elephant, right? So it thinks of an elephant and tries to remove it, but then it can't because it's already
Yeah.
output to the elephant.
No, it's
So
it's really funny, like because it only listens to actions, like daily, constant actions. Like that's the whole point of habits, is to that's how you think
that's how you
what you
tell the
want.
system 1, this is what system 2 is telling you to do. And system 1
Right.
say, oh, okay, if he is depressed every day, that means that he likes to be depressed. So I'm going to trigger my compute so I can help system 2 be depressed every day. Or system
Right.
2 is happy every day, right? That means that, hey, system 1 say, well, this guy you keep doing the happy thing, happy thing, happy thing. This guy keep doing the forehand, forehand, forehand. That means he must like the forehand. So let me see if how I can improve and optimize his forehand and devise a pattern where I can coordinate all the muscle so
Right.
that he can hit the forehand with ease, right? So that is one example of what I'm talking about. The system 1 needs to have a very particular way to communicate, and if you can communicate in what it can understand, it will help you. But you cannot take what you think a system 2 understands it and translate into system 1. Meaning, go back to what we talking about, the elephant whisper. Can me, like, literally go talk to a little elephant? I can't, because I don't understand what it needs.
Right.
This guy here in Africa knows the nuance and
Yeah. You
behaviors
watched
of
them,
this
studied
elephant.
them, understood, got their
Then he
trust.
understands
Yeah.
what this elephant can understand. Then he
Right.
uses that to communicate. So
Right.
go back to what I'm saying is, that is why the elephant whisperer in our circle, it is super important, because it's from the book, Thinking Fast and Slow, System 1, System 2, from the Happiness Hypothesis. It represents a concept that we're trying to convey to our audience.
Yes. The common language
What
is
we Yeah. And so in order for us to be able to tell our subconscious to help us, right, it's 1,000 times faster than what you can think, right?
because
Limit the brain in a certain set, and you try to compete that with whatever the supercomputer is doing, which is, hey, I'm computing. So you ask him, hey, what's 50 million times 125 billion, right? It can compute because that's what it does, right?
well,
But
it thinks in numbers. We don't think in numbers. We think in
we don't.
stories,
We don't think
pictures,
in
and
numbers.
we're matching up stories, in our head.
It's the way our brains work, the way we work, also is very unique. And in
Right.
order to whisper, I mean, the hand to whisper, like, talking about the ghost whisperer, the dog whisperer, and the horse whisperer, it's ability for you to talk to somebody, to something, or to someone, or some animal that normally most people can't talk to. That's like a dog whisperer, right? How to talk to a dog. But this whisperer guy goes and talks to the dog, and the dog listen. Same thing with a ghost whisperer, right? Who can talk to ghosts?
I mean, you could take it even more literal. It's like babies, right? Like, I mean,
A
they,
baby
they don't
whisperer.
understand. Like they only understand your actions. Like, like they like the common language between system 1 and system 2, if you want to, or any beings, different worlds, the common communication system is action. Like, I mean, that's it. Like, it's the actions you put out there. Now, we have a unique, in my opinion, I think it's unique, where we can think about the action beforehand and understand why we want to do that action, which is why the values come into play, right? Like, if you are strategically aligning things that you think that you like to do in your
Because
subconscious.
what we have is a computer
Mhm.
and a programmer on one. Okay.
Right.
Most animal has a computer, not a programmer.
Right.
We are the only one that has a programmer. Our system 2 is a programmer. You can program something in bad. You can program in something good. It's up to you. But the programmer can program the computer.
Right.
So our brains, our primitive brain is a computer. The animal's brain is a computer. It just behaves by instinct, meaning this is the subroutine it has. It has some directives, and that's what it does. But it cannot think. It cannot project into the future. Hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to communicate with other people. I'm going to take in input. So that's a programmer. To me, we have a computer, a supercomputer, and a programmer. In today's society, the programmers are not programming anything. The programmer just copying code.
Yeah.
They're just copying code. Like, that this is what we call conditioning. We go to school, we learn, we get a job, we get married, buy a car, get into debt, retire, die, pass on, whatever. You copying the code. You just copy somebody else's code. You're not programming it. You have the ability to program yourself. You are the programmer. You just didn't program. You just, so I could probably program you, I mean, Hitler programmed a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I mean, it's through systematic action, every single day.
Exactly. Like, he just programmed, say, hey, if I continue to say we are the Aryan race, we're a super race, they're programming you.
It wasn't the, in my opinion, it's not the rhetoric, it's the action. It was, who cares what you're saying? It was,
it's not it's the action.
I mean, every single day they pick people out of their homes, they shipped them off to concentration camps, and they were like, we're you're inferior to us. I mean, that was the action. Everybody was like, oh, okay, all right, that's happening. Like,
the action makes the system 1 understand. That's why the Catholic Church, right? You go to mass. I mean, you do a lot of stuff.
Very ritualistic.
You do a lot of stuff. You do the sign of the cross. You kneel at a certain point. You sing. You recite the you believe, and you go through the ritual. I mean, you do that over and over. The thing is, in the Catholic Church, now nothing's new. Every year is the same thing. It's a cycle of the life of Jesus in 1 year.
It is new because it changes within the year, but
it doesn't change. You talk about the ordinary time.
I'm saying it's not the same every day. It does change throughout the year, but like every year is the same.
Every year is the same.
Right.
You have the Christmas, right? You have Lent season. You have ordinary times. It's a same ritual, and that's the point. Is when you do that for so long, system 1 understands and believes, right? System 1 understand by instinct because it was trained for over thousands of years.
Right.
System 2 is saying, I'm scratching my head. I'm saying, why are people doing this, and why do I do so bad if I do this? System 2 doesn't compute. Just like when you have a deep connection with the Sahara, African Sahara, right? Your system 2 doesn't understand why. You say, I just like it.
Well, and my system is processing this stuff and continues to read more.
What do you mean? The system 1 is, hey, this is who you are. I'm trying to get you there, right? Whenever time you see a picture of an elephant, I'm like pressing all these buttons in you to make you feel like good and groovy inside.
But that's how system 1 communicates with us. If you listen to it, you just watch and you go, oh, I'm doing this action. Why am I doing this action? And then it goes the other way around. Then you're like, I want to do an action, and then I want
button, right? It pushes the button. So let's say you do something you don't like, regardless of what it is. Like, hey, let's say, for example, like for me, like I do not like fame. Okay, I don't want. I mean, this is a human instinct. Okay, human instinct is to be famous.
Right.
I want to be famous when I was younger because I was conditioned. But when I understand myself, I don't want to be famous. I don't want famous. I want freedom. It's different.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to be in a leadership role because I don't want the responsibility because it comes together. You can't have leadership without responsibility. I don't want leadership because I don't want responsibility.
Well, you
Only
want
then,
responsibility. You just don't want responsibility for other people. And that's not
yes.
even true because you have responsibility for your children. It's always nuanced, but but I get what you're saying.
I don't want responsibility for my children either, but because there's no one else can do it and I have to do it, and
Right.
because what my children can brings to me, it's worth the
Right.
in a way a sacrifice, because it's something I don't want to do. It's a sacrifice for me to do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting something more in return.
Right.
Only in that sense. Because like I said, if my wife asks me, hey, what do you want to eat? I don't really care. I just don't.
Right.
You want me to drive? I'll drive. You don't want me to drive? I don't drive. I don't care. I don't
Right.
need to be in the driver's seat. I don't need to have to be the guy picking and stuff. Like, if you want to spend, and just ask your mom. I don't care. Right?
Right.
I don't want responsibility. I'll take responsibility if I have to. Hey, this is a problem. Hey, Dad, go solve it. Go clean it up. Go, whatever. I'll go do it. But I don't want to, because
Right.
that's who. But other people would want to. There's people who are naturally a leader, right? They want the responsibility. They want to show that leadership.
Right.
And so that's what I'm saying is, for each one of us, we are different. But that's the thing is, without having the ability to communicate with our system one or system two is understanding only by how you feel. Meaning, when system one is understanding something, it's gonna press button to make you feel bad, make you feel good, make you feel like bored or whatever. It's gonna press button, and that is the feedback for system two to say, okay, my elephant isn't happy if I kick him under the ribs,
Right.
right? And so based on those emotions, know that system one is cool and collective, or it's angry at you just because it pressed a button. And the same
Right.
thing with, so that feedback goes to system two. System two say, okay, I can reason, I can program, so I can start programming.
The feedback loops are emotions, in my opinion, for both. Like, that's how you communicate the reaction, and the feedback loop is emotion.
Well, the thing is that the emotion is emitted by system one. System one, system
two.
one doesn't take in emotions.
No, I agree. But
system one takes in actions. If you take action, it doesn't. If you think about
action,
if
system one feedback.
If you do something that is hard, right? You do something that's hard. The emotion in the beginning is hard. Let's say you start working out, whatever. You feel it's hard, right? That's emotion. If the emotion was the trigger, the feedback for the system one to feed on, you would never becoming good at anything, because
that's
in the beginning,
not true.
everything.
Some people like hard things.
No. I'm just saying is because if system one is taking the cue of emotions, bad emotion mean don't do it, good emotion mean do it, right? Because everything you do in the beginning, it's going to feel bad, because you like I said, you walk and you fall down, right? System one takes it as a cue, say, hey, don't do this anymore. So it's not going to help you do it.
Well, just because you fail at something doesn't mean that you don't like failing at it. So
I'm talking about from the perspective of system two.
No, I know. I agree. I'm saying I don't agree, because sometimes hard is fun.
But you have to take it from the objective point of view. The objective point of view is, let's say you are system one, the primitive brain, right? You are giving a signal. It's either 0 or 1. As a computer.
Right. If it's hard, you're saying the emotion is challenge, or the emotion is this is a struggle that gets emoted back to system two.
No, because the thing is, system one needs to take in the signal first, which is let's pretend that emotion is the input for system one. Make sense? Follow me?
Yeah. Okay. Emotion's the output of system.
So we are making a hypothesis right now. We make an assumption that
the emotions are the output. Input is action.
Hypothetically, if emotion was the input for system one, then it wouldn't work. And this is why I'm explaining why it wouldn't work that way. Because if the emotion was the input for system one, every single time you do anything, it's gonna become a challenge. System one will just stop doing it. It won't do it anymore. So you will never improve. This is why that hypothesis is crossed out. That's why I'm saying the only other reason, the only other input you could have is by action. The action say, hey, when you do it again, it actually makes it say, hey, that's basically
I like it a little more.
Double, triple, whatever. The number is higher. Therefore, there is an infinity for something, because you do this thing 10 times. You must have like this one versus the action you did only one time. That is the logic that it takes in from outside. So that means that from the system one perspective, the computer, the primitive brain, it takes action. Action comes in, it goes and it develops that, and it's going to press buttons to emit emotion. The emotion comes out like after the body that you can see. Like if you're angry, I can see, but you can also feel you're angry. That means that the emotion can be felt by a lot of different systems, i.e. system 2, the programmer, i.e. other people, system 2, right? And so that's what I'm saying is if you look at it from that particular ecosystem, you do a certain actions. That action will train your system 1 to help you become better at whatever it is you want to try to do, like beforehand, whatever it is you want to achieve.
Right.
I spent the past 10 years trying to, I call it reprogram the subconsciousness. That's what I want. I'm a programmer, so I want to program my own brain. I've been doing research for the past 10 years in this area.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, that makes, well, this is a big thesis of what we're trying to do. But for me, speaking of action, I got to go crochet.
Yes. If you crochet too much, it's going to help you be a good crocheter.
Yeah, I got to keep doing it because it's my challenge in myself. I don't actually want to crochet because I still don't like it yet, but we'll see. So I got to keep going at it. All right, so that's the cue to bounce out of here for the night, though. Fun conversation as always. Question we can leave for everybody: is there somewhere in particular that the Omens have been directing your journey to recently? And if so, what's stopping you from listening? Get going. Thank you for joining, and thanks for the fun conversation as always, True. And we will see you all tomorrow.
Yeah, have fun, you guys.